Hi everyone, my name is Isela. I am a fourth year student at Rutgers University. I am also an intern at the New Jersey Coalition Against Human Trafficking. My team and I are not professionals on the subject of human trafficking. However, this is our starting point to learning about such a delicate topic and what it means to destigmatize the notion of human trafficking within our communities and to create a sense of awareness and impact by bringing this podcast forward hidden in plain sight. And I just want to welcome you all to join us today.
Hey, what's up? I haven't seen you in a while.
Hey, what's up? I haven't really been doing much lately. How about you?
I'm going on a college tour soon. Do you want to come?
Honestly, I don't even feel like I'm gonna go to college anymore.
Why not? What do you mean you aren't going to? Talk to me. Tell me what's going on. Lately, you don't care about anything. You've been missing school, you won't return my calls, you don't want to hang out anymore.
I can't really tell you. I can't tell anyone. I promised.
You can tell me anything, I promise to never tell anyone.
Okay, but if I tell you, then you can't breathe a word of this to anyone. Promise?
Okay. Promise.
Okay, so basically, my dad split a couple months ago, and I haven't heard a word from him since. My mom kind of fell into some, I don't know, kind of depression, I guess, and not too long after he left, she started screaming about money and how it was me and my little sister's fault for the reason why he left. And after a while, my mom started waking up in the middle of the night, and she started give, telling me all these weird favors and to do for her and her friends, and it just didn't feel right. And the main reasoning for this was her saying that I had to be the man of the house and that I had to protect me, my mom, and my sister and our family. So I feel obligated to help everyone out, and it it, it makes me feel weird, and so I just had to swallow up my pain, and I have to step up to be the man. And I don't want to do these things, but who's gonna take care of us? I just have to accept the way things have changed, and I don't know. It's been really tough lately.
I'm sorry you're going through that. I wish I could help.
Yeah, I guess it is what it is. I guess. Can I talk to you later?
Yeah, it's cool. See you later.
See ya.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elvia.
My name is Chelsea.
And my name is Cynthia, and thank you for tuning in to the Hidden in Plain Sight podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about important topics on human trafficking.
That sounds good. I like that topic.
Yeah, right? It's an important topic because I feel like a lot of people are desensitized to the topic of human
They
trafficking.
have a misperception of what it actually is.
It's Walmart
like-
TikToks.
Yeah.
What is human trafficking? I feel like people really need to know what is human trafficking and how it looks like.
Well, I don't really think it looks like you're going to Walmart and somebody's taking you and sticking you in a van because, I find that most of the time a lot of human trafficking occurs within family, friends, boyfriends, schools.
That reminds me of did you see that on the news about that figure?
Andrew Tate.
Yes.
I did hear about that.
He had his girlfriends basically being human trafficked for sex. And that's because they thought they were safe with him
Mm-hmm.
and that they were in a relationship, so they trusted him. But no, he was taking advantage of them.
It's a grooming process.
And this is why I say that it's so important for everyone to be educated about this topic, because just like they went through that, not knowing how human trafficking look like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's so easy for a person that has power
Oh, yeah.
to
To play on somebody's vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
yes.
And that's what they do. They play on your vulnerabilities. For a long time, as I educated myself with human trafficking, I thought, what is it, familiar? And then, how do you say the other one? I can never say it because I have such a bad list. But I thought for a long time it just meant familiar, like somebody you knew. And in all actuality, it means family.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people they don't always understand
Complexity.
the complexity and the lingo, like in
Mhm.
how things are actually worded and what you actually talk about. If we go into, you know, the question of why is everybody so desensitized, like how does that happen? How do you turn a blind eye? And I think it's because a lot of people aren't educated.
Yeah.
Now, I think a lot of times people kind of rely on the media for it,
Mhm.
how human trafficking is portrayed in films and TV shows, and a lot of time it's very played up to
Mhm.
get like a strong negative reaction. When in reality, I feel like in reality, survivors they go through a process of like grooming. They're trying to survive in a world, and a lot of times they don't really have the resources
Mhm.
for themselves, and then they reach out for this person they think they can trust and they care about, but in actuality, they're being taken advantage of.
Absolutely.
You said something very important, grooming.
Grooming.
What is that?
Grooming is basically the process of a person in power getting another person to trust them. And this is often a dynamic of an older person with a younger person,
Mhm.
and it is when this younger person doesn't is reaching out to this older person in hopes they would get help.
Mhm. Well, I think a lot of grooming too is when I actually like wrote something down on grooming because I found it really interesting that how the grooming process works because it plays on trust and vulnerability.
Mhm.
So here you have somebody who's learning, who you think, wow, this person is interested in me.
Mhm.
They want to know everything about me. And you
Yes.
take somebody from an environment where they feel lonely or they're neglected, and then here comes somebody feeding positive feedback into them, and what they're doing is they're really listening to your vulnerabilities, what you need, what you lack, and then once they know that, they play that sympathy card with you, and they start planting seeds. And I feel like one of the key things for that is isolation. They begin to separate and segregate you from your family and loved ones.
I feel like for some population, I feel like for our LGBT youth, I feel like they're already in a place of like isolation because
I agree.
a lot of time they're being stigmatized by the community around them, and they don't even feel safe in their own community. So they're trying to reach out for that person now, see them and understand them, and maybe because they're being stigmatized, they're not getting the help that they really need. So they're already in the like precarious place to be in.
That must be discouraging.
Yeah, and this is something very important that we touched before, the importance of community. What role do you think community plays in against human trafficking?
Well, I think it starts with those higher up, with them being educated teachers, EMT workers, paramedics, hotel managers. You know, these are all people in key positions that definitely turn a blind eye. You know what I mean? Either because they're not educated or because they don't want to deal with it, or sometimes, unfortunately, because they are part of it. And I feel it's really key to educate people on the signs, especially when it comes to children. Because children don't always know any better. They don't always talk. What do you do when you have a younger child? And I was writing signs in that where, you know, a younger child might be wetting the bed, where they were completely potty trained, and now all of a sudden they're having night terrors. They're wetting the bed. They're doing odd behavior that, you know, isn't normal for a 4 or a 5-year-old to be doing. And, you know, these are signs that if you really pay attention, doctors, nurses, teachers, guidance counselors, they should all be mandated in some way of education on grooming and human trafficking.
what you said with children, I agree that there should definitely be like more resources to make sure that people who are kind of in charge and like in those powerful places to recognize the signs. But we also have to remember that everyone can be a victim, not just children, and it's like it goes across age groups. Kind of going into like the different forms of trafficking. Like we also have to remember there's labor trafficking, so that affects everyone who's like able-bodied to work. And I feel like one of those places you can often see is in agriculture with farming. All those workers who might not have the right paperwork to work, they're still ending up in those places because those are the places that are open for them, so they're able to work. So I feel like that's also important to remember.
And also another thing that is important, I feel like sometimes people think like females are more, this only happens to female. So what do you guys think about that perception?
It is very gender when it comes to, I find trafficking is usually more towards females or young girls versus, like you said, everyone and anyone can be a victim of human trafficking. It doesn't discriminate.
Yeah,
it doesn't discriminate. I forgot what you just said. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. It's this topic.
It's
It's like so
topic
much
to talk about.
Like even myself, like I'm thinking about the different scenario and all the things that we see on the news.
Yeah.
And it's like so much that it's okay to be confused, and that's good. It's good that you say, you know what, I'm confused. Like get confused with this topic because this is what is I'm telling you that we need more information, and just like us, everybody else out there need to find information about that. Like what would you guys say to somebody that is not sure, because human trafficking can look so different.
You could be a waitress.
Yeah. So what would you say to somebody that I'm not sure, like pretending that I'm not sure what some human trafficking is, and I'm not sure if my friend is going through something like that. Like what would you say to somebody like that? Like if I want to help somebody.
I think one of the important things is to get educated. I know that there are a couple of organizations out there putting in the work to really help the survivors and the people who are still in the life, to make sure that people in the community know what is going on. But also I feel like an important factor, I feel like we've touched on this, is trust.
Yeah.
Because
trust is key.
You don't want to lose the trust of the people who are in the life, who are going through it, because then if you lose that trust, you break that trust, it's like you're breaking off another support for them. And that can also...
You can also put their life at risk if you tell the wrong way, or, because you got to remember a lot of the times they are familiar with whoever's trafficking them.
Yeah.
You get people sometimes who build a bond with whoever's trafficking them. Like look at, the pimp situation. How many girls get arrested and then go right back to their pimp after? Or
when we go back to the labor situation.
Yeah. Why?
It's like,
the question is why?
Like they are the ones who are working. They might even not see themselves as a victim. Of human trafficking, because they're the ones that are like, oh, I'm working and I'm kind of earning money. But the way that these people kind of take advantage of that is, oh, I'm giving you enough money to survive, but are you, like, you're not really
But you're not living.
Yeah, you're not living.
You're not living, you're
thriving.
surviving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, another thing is, how do we get the information to these people, or to the people who want to help? Like, how do you approach somebody and say, hey, are you working here by force? Like, do you just go up to somebody? You can't do that. So, like, how do you really see what is hidden in plain sight. And you know, I strongly believe it starts with education, with the signs, the knowing the grooming situation, knowing the signs and appearance. There's just, it's a rabbit hole, and we can go down it for days and days and days because there's so many ways that it can happen. But what we really want to focus on is educating people in a way that they can help. And you know, like you said, the coalitions, there's a lot of outreaches, you know, but unfortunately, you get victims who really don't trust the process. You know, it's hard to trust the process after that. You got to think, even when they're taken from labor or sex trafficking, now they have to heal. Now they have to go through the motions, and that is when they need, I believe, the most support. And that is where they begin to build new trust relationships, you know? And I think it's important for people in charge, or like teachers and guidance counselors and people who run rehabilitation centers, to really be educated on trafficking before and after.
Yeah.
Because once they get out, there's still such a long road from them of recovery.
Yeah. I feel like this topic is so, there's so much that we still need to continue learning about, that I feel like what we all can do and the way that we can all be helpful, it's like you say, by information, and continue to build safe communities, continue to build safe places where people, kids, adolescents are comfortable to come and find somebody and say, you know what, this is happening to me. And then once you open up and you have the person that you trust, you feel like, okay, this is what's happening, and then let's see what this is. Is this human trafficking? Is this
labor,
prostitution?
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like you need to, like, sometimes we don't know the difference between one and the other. So that, I think that's very important for us and everybody else to educate about that. And something that you say before, like, should we come to that person and say, oh, I think, are you being
trafficked? Like, they're
No.
gonna look at you like you're crazy. You can't say that. But I think you can almost build maybe a level of comfort, like, hey, you know, I just want to let you know, if you ever need anything, I'm here for you.
Be there.
You know, like, and just consistently check up, call in. You know, like, one phone call or one action can change somebody's entire life and perspective.
Yes.
I want to kind of go
that.
back to what Elvia was saying about the difference between prostitution and human trafficking.
And smuggling.
Because I feel like a lot of people might not understand the difference. They don't know what is the defining.
You want to explain the difference?
I think it goes down to coercion, fraud, what's the last
Force.
one? Force.
Yeah.
You have to remember that the victims who are going through the initial processing is, first, they're trusting these people for whatever resources they might be missing, money, money for rent, money for food, but then that person's starting to ask for them in return, like, oh, this exchange is happening, but that person might not be willing. They're not willing, but in the end, they're kind of being like, oh, it's either this or I don't eat. It's either this or I have no place to go. It's either this or, again, if they're in that relationship, it's like, oh, that person may not love me anymore. They may not want to do anything. If that's their only person that they have, they're not willing to break down.
To give that, yeah.
Or in another case, it's like, oh, even if they recognize that, oh, this is not a situation to be in, they might have other factors going into them staying. Maybe they have a friend who's still there and they don't want to see that friend
Absolutely.
go through something, again, that kind of coercion to stay. I feel like those are like the three defining kind of aspects to what really differentiates human trafficking from prostitution.
Or human trafficking and smuggling. I was gonna say, because so many people.
What is smuggling?
Well, smuggling is like, let's say you live in another country and I smuggle you through the border. You paid me to smuggle you, but I'm not trafficking you because I'm not putting you to work.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm smuggling you. I'm not making money off of you. I'm making money I'm making money from you almost because I'm doing you a favor for a favor. You're paying me and I'm doing a service for you.
Yeah.
Versus trafficking, the service is the person.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Because then again, because the labor is that person is getting that labor from that person.
Mm-hmm. And
but there might be some, like again, if like a person is like, oh, but they're paying me. Yeah, but there might be conditions like, oh, I'm paying you, but you have to pay me for the food.
your clothes, your water, your bed,
Yeah.
all of those things. Guess what? I bought you a toothbrush today.
No,
You
that costs
owe me
something.
5 years for that.
Yeah.
You know, and it really is that serious. And people I don't always think comprehend the severity of somebody being hungry and what they'd be willing to do or deal with, not do, but deal with just to have food in their stomach.
Do you guys feel like human trafficking look like slavery? Like
it is slavery.
Yeah.
It's modern day slavery. Human trafficking is modern day slavery. You're being forced to do something that you don't want to do. Even if somebody looks comfortable in their situation or with their trafficker, they don't want to do that. Nobody wants to be forced to do something.
Yeah, and like going back to what you say, like when somebody help you to move to a different country, right?
Mm-hmm. Smuggling.
So when do that becomes human trafficking?
I would imagine it becomes human trafficking when you begin to make money off of the person.
Sorry, going back to it's being forced. Maybe they don't want to go. Like if they lived in one state and they want to stay in that one state, but then that person's like, no, you have to go to another state. That they're being smuggled, they're being trafficked across state lines.
Well, you get trafficked. You get people who are trafficked through smuggling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those people maybe being smuggled to another country to be sex workers or to be labor workers in another state.
Oh, the coercion.
Versus just smuggling so you can go live with your family.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And get out of danger.
That's the like difference because going back to like the force, the coercion,
Mm-hmm.
the fraud. Again, those like three things kind of.
They definitely do. Differentiate.
Yeah,
differentiate. I got you. But it's true. I actually wrote a question here, and my key question is: how can you help somebody and not where they do not feel betrayed by you? If I trusted you with a secret, and you knew it was some form of trafficking secret that I trusted you, and you tell on me, how do you think I'm gonna feel? I'm gonna feel betrayed by you. So how do we help without betraying?
I think it kind of goes down towards the person that's in the situation. Because again, you don't want to break that trust because trust is very important. You never want to lose that with someone. So I think it goes down to letting that person know, hey, I'm there for you.
Yeah.
I know you don't want me to do anything, but here's some resources I found. It's up to you. It's up to you whether you want to use it.
Yeah.
But here's some things I found. Know that I'm on your corner. Know that I'm here for you. But look, this is some organizations I found. Maybe you can go and see if they can help you. Maybe I think it comes down to that because you don't want
somebody to feel like you're. There's a word I'm looking for, and I really can't think of it right now. Of course not.
Trying to save you from something.
Yeah, like
you're a
nobody wants to
savior.
feel like you're not saving me. You know, nobody wants to feel like you're like it's a savior complex. You know, it's a really fine line between helping and helping people who don't want to be helped sometimes. How do you help somebody who doesn't know they need help?
And it's not only that they don't want to be helped, it's just that
that's their life. They're not comfortable. I don't want to say comfortable. They're
accustomed
to. They're molded. They're almost molded into this lifestyle.
And let's not even touch on how the person, what is that person, how is that, because we don't know.
Because it's such
There's
a
so
wide,
many things that can play. role for the
Right, right.
whatever decision that person is making. But what we need to do is what we need, like you say, be there for the person. And this is why I always say the importance of building communities. And building communities doesn't really need to be like, okay, we're going to have an office for human trafficking in this
this
town. It
location.
will be nice, wonderful. But community also means that if you and I are friends and I know that you're going through something, I'm here for you.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna call you. I want to know what's happening. How are you doing?
Yeah.
It's not that, oh, you need to tell me everything that is happening in your life, but I want you to know that whatever decision you make, I'm here for you. If you need help, I'm here for you. I'm providing you with phone numbers, with website
people.
information, and like you want to take action, I am going to walk with you. If you're not ready,
I
I'm
will
sitting
I'm
next
here.
to you
I'm here supporting you, and
Yes.
I'm ready to help you when you're ready.
when you're ready. I feel like that's one of the most important thing, because like I say at the beginning,
Well, you're building trust
this
like
is
that.
yes, and this is a very, very big topic.
Yeah.
It's
And
about,
we don't know. Sometimes we don't know
yeah,
how it's. Every case is different.
it is.
Every situation is different, and like we just the best that we can do is
Is
to
educate ourselves.
educate ourselves.
I was 15, a sophomore, when I met a cute boy at school. One day, he offered me a ride home from school, and I was so happy. But he didn't take me home. He took me to his house, where he drugged and raped me and took photos. He threatened to show the photos to kids at school, to our priest at church, and to my father's boss at work.
I was an ordinary kid who went to Catholic school and ballet class, but I had a secret. I was trafficked in South Jersey by my mom, who was a nurse. I was only 6 years old. She looked at me and she said, "Do you love me?" Of course I did.
I was raised in New Jersey in an abusive and controlled environment. In school, I struggled with learning disabilities and used laughter to hide behind my pain. I longed for acceptance and friendship, which caused me to trust the wrong people. At age 18, people who pretended to be my friends ended up forcing me into prostitution, and I endured beatings and worse. I thought I'd never survive.
For 2 years, I was forced to sneak out at night and was sold to men to try and earn back the photos. I was trafficked in a middle-class suburb while I lived at home and went to school during the day.
What child doesn't want to prove that they love their parent? So sleeping with men became my normal. Later in life, a boyfriend figure said, "I'm not making you do anything your mom didn't make you do." I felt like I had no choice because I believed them when they said that no one would believe someone like me.
I was left with police records, hospital visits, and homelessness. Today, I've learned that my voice and my presence in this world can make a difference. Today, I feel empowered, valued, and loved.
If any of our stories resonate with you and what you have gone through or are currently going through, know that you are not alone. The survivor community is waiting for you.
So we want to thank everyone that is listening, and also we wanted to take a very important point about all this information that we are giving out, because I feel like there's so much that we have covered.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Today we really did cover a lot about human trafficking, different forms, and it is a lot to digest. So hopefully, to everyone who's listening, you go out and you reach out to these coalitions that may be nearby, or you reach out to survivors and telling their stories to get a better grasp of human trafficking and the scale.
I agree with you. I want to close with saying, trust your gut. Trust your gut when it comes to these things, because I find it's better to be wrong than to be in regret. And it might not even be a trafficking situation. It could be another situation. But I want to let you guys know that there is help out there. And I want to leave you with, if you need to report or you want to make a call, the number is 888-373-7888, or you can text help or info to Be Free 233-733. Let's not hide in plain sight anymore.
Thank you so much, everyone, for listening.
Thank you, everyone who tuned into our podcast today, Hidden in Plain Sight. I hope that together with my team and I, we inspire you to take more diligence in this topic about human trafficking and what it means, and to continue this journey forward, to continue to look for those signs, to continue to be more introspective within your community and act when you see something, to speak up, to not be afraid, and to just continue this journey by joining coalitions, by speaking up, by just simply being more aware of what's going on around you and within your own communities.